I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Tonight is Sunday. It's the first day of the week. It's the first show of the week. It's the first night of the week. We've apparently made it through daylight savings time. I'm never a fan of daylight savings time. Ever, 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 ever. Never a fan of it. And honestly, this is the worst daylight savings time, because you're just cooking along, and it's like 1:30, then it's like 1:45, and it's 1:50, and it's 1:58, and it's 1:59, and then bam, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and that is never, ever, ever, ever a good thing, because you lose time, you're losing an hour, and it's chaotic. I will tell everybody, though, when the one in the fall happened, and that's normally the good one because you get an extra hour, it had me so discombobulated. I was so thrown off for months. It was like really bad. And I'll be honest, this is the first time ever that when it happened and I realized it was 3 o'clock and I realized how horrible that was and how bad it sucked, I went to sleep and I woke up and I actually felt good. So praise God. I think everything's going to go good here. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a big, big show in store for you all, whether you're watching live or if you're watching via replay. We welcome you, and we ask you to do us just a couple of simple things here. Hit that like button, smash that thumbs up, give us a thumbs up, help us with the algorithms, and do that thing. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please consider subscribing on YouTube. You can do it for free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay to do it. It's absolutely free. Click that bell. That way you're notified when we go live, when we drop other content. If we go live during an extra night of the week or whatever, you will want to know that. So please do all of those things. If you're here live and you want to communicate with us, comment over here at the text box on the right-hand side. If you're here via the replay button into the future, then you'll comment down below. And we will interact with you and get back to you. We can't wait for you guys to do that, so please do that. All right, getting straight into it. This show is a two-part thing. We're going to have a first part where we're going to talk about one thing, and then we're going to immediately after that kick into something else that has nothing to do. So the two parts don't have anything to do with each other. I want to be very clear about that. This is the 617th episode, and we've titled it Mark Nicholson. And then that's the part one. And part two is the price of Prairie Creek in Muncie. So we'll talk about that, and we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I do want to say that for a very, very special evening, we have producer Polk with us. So producer Polk is down in the duck doing the things that producer Polk will do, and we're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna welcome attorney Mark Nicholson. Mark Nicholson is an attorney out of Indianapolis, represents anyone here in Indiana. I think he has a law degree, will travel. He's a lawyer that represents those in need of legal services in the civil rights area, in criminal defense, and personal injury. We're going to pull him up. Here he is. Can you see us? Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. This has been a long time in the making. I'm glad that we were able to get you on, and we've been talking about this for a very long time. But we just always, something would happen. And so I'm glad to have you here this evening and talking to you. Contrary to some of those out in the world, this is the very first time I think that we've ever talked to each other, even through screen face to face like this. So, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. And, I'm glad that, we were able to get this going. So, just to get this started, why don't you give the people a little bit of background about who you are, what you do, and how you came to be here?
Yeah, I practice criminal defense, personal injury, and civil rights. And the reason why I'm here, obviously, is because of Kristopher Bilbrey asking me, and it's an honor to be on the show. I know that we've tried several times to connect and for me to be on, especially because I was born and raised in Newcastle, graduated from what was then called Chrysler High School, and obviously now it's called Newcastle High School or something, because Chrysler left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have ties there in Newcastle, and then obviously because I have clients there that are in Newcastle that are have their civil rights violated, and I also have some people that have criminal cases that I have represented and am representing as well. So there's my ties kind of with Newcastle that run deep, given the fact I was born and raised in Henry County. So that's my background as far as Henry County and my ties there. So yeah, that's that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. I actually came to know you through your sister. Mary is a friend of the show and a friend of mine, somebody I've known for a while. So that's actually how I came to be aware of you. And I think what you guys, what you do is awesome. Oh, hey, look, Mary says, I know that guy. Yeah. So yeah, I think what you do is awesome, and you offer a great service for those that need that. And we try and put your name in front of those people that are out there that are in need of legal assistance in that manner. So that's cool. And so just a little bit of your background. You've written a book.
Yes.
And I think that's out there. And what's the name of that book?
The book is called The Law from Prison to the Street. And basically what it does, it talks about the civil rights that so people always ask, hey, what's the the rights that I have if I'm on the street or if I'm in prison. People are always asking that question. And I can't always answer everybody, because there's people, all throughout, the state or the country. And so what I end up doing is writing the book so that way it could spread around to a lot of different people throughout the country to let them know, hey, these are some of the rights that you have in prison, because sometimes people think you lose all your rights while you're in prison or jail. And then these are the rights that you have outside, hopefully before you even get to prison. I want to take a moment also to say thanks to the people that have referred people to me, because I see there's some things that are popping up where people say, hey, they refer people. Yeah. And that's how I get a lot of clients through word of mouth. So I do appreciate that. And because of that, the book is another way to kind of get that word out by having this book where people can read it and say, oh, I didn't know this. This is another way for me to help people, even if they can't, contact me because maybe they live in a different state or maybe they're incarcerated and they don't really have a way. If they get that book or their family member gets the book and reads it, then they can say, hey, I read this book and I know that you can do this and you can file this and things like that to try to help the people that need it.
Yeah, that's great. And where can people, if they're interested in buying that book, where can people find that at? It's on, I mean, you should be able to Google and hit Amazon and all that, right?
I know. I was looking to pick it up and flash it for a second. So if
no, you're
I might be able to do that.
Yeah, you're fine. You take all the time you need, brother.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get the
if only it's producer Polk's first night, so if only if producer Polk had a copy of that. I knew Mary had screwed this up for me.
Now I should have. So I should have had this already. So I do a plug. Like,
yeah.
So as seen on TV. So so here's a plug. It is on Amazon. Just type in the law from prison to the street or my name.
Yeah.
And then that book could come up. Also, you can go to my website, the little bookstore, and it can come up. And they have it in digital and obviously paperback.
Sure. Okay. That's cool. That's awesome. That's very cool. I appreciate that. Oh yeah. Look right here. We've got it right here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right there. So yeah, you can get this right here. Hey, and that is nothing right there. $14.
Okay.
You guys can put that in there and get that going right there as seen on YouTube right there. It's very easy. So that's very cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And one of the things, Chris, too, that the book talks about when I first started writing it, I mean, like, I'm just really I'm an attorney, and I'm not like a Stephen King or, William Shakespeare.
Right.
So when I started writing, I let some of my friends read it and they're like, well, who are you? And I'm like, that's a good point. So they wanted me to talk a little bit about my background because they're like, you're writing this, but like, no one knows you. What kind of authority you have.
Yeah.
So one of the things that it made me do is in the first part of the book, maybe the first 1/3, is talk about my background of, being in the military and then going to college, getting an altercation that ultimately resulted in me being, thank you, Mark Shakespeare, going to prison. And I spent 12 years of my life in prison. And so I got to experience, unfortunately, what it's like in prison, being at Supermax, Indiana State Prison, being the victim of police brutality, when I got out of prison after 12 years, being homeless. So I end up putting some of that in there. It's not really a memoir. It's not my autobiography or anything,
sure,
but it lets people understand a little bit about my background and how I became an attorney. And then now I can talk about the rights and things like that and say, hey, I know what it's like being on the other side because I was, and these are some of the things you can do.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing, that a lot of people just don't really understand that. First of all, I'm very big on the American criminal justice system, in my opinion, is supposed to be one of course it is, there's a level of punishment in there and people are supposed to, pay for their crimes and do all of this, but it's really to me, it's more it's supposed to be about restoring and teaching people how to better themselves or whatnot, and right, wrong, or different, for whatever reason, if someone is in prison, a lot of times they get out and it's just like they're marked with this for the rest of their life, and they're looked at as a lower class citizen, and they feel like, okay, there's nowhere I can go from here. There's nothing I can do. But it's interesting in your situation where, and a lot of people have things like this and people just don't really understand it. But, you were on that side of things for a minute and you got out and you've done this and you've built your life and you've done a really good job. And it's a really, I guess it's the way that the criminal justice system is supposed to work, right? You got out and you've now been able to build a life from there. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it should be able to give people hope and kind of like, hey, look, I can do it too, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a two-way street in the sense of, there should be these opportunities for people. But then in the military, they have, and even in the Civil War, they have what they call proving grounds. Mm-hmm. So where they take out military equipment, prove it and things like that. So here in the same sense is when people get out, jail, prison, whatever hardship it is, homelessness, drug addiction, there's a part where they have to prove themselves, right?
Yes.
So people will have faith in them. I didn't do this all by myself. There are a lot of people that helped me. Even today, people are still helping me by referring people, family members that say, hey, I'm trusting you with my son or my daughter to represent them, or my husband. And, I want to continue to show myself approved because I'm trying to do the right thing and do good by people. And when people get out, there's this part where they have to get in there and show people that, hey, I'm serious about turning my life around, about, getting off drugs or whatever it is that's holding them back, because people will use that against you and say, hey, you said you were doing this, but and you're doing the right thing, but you're still doing all this bad stuff. So we have to have people that are out there that are willing to put the faith in people. And then when people are investing in this person, that person has to say, hey, I am worth investing. Because if you're not out there doing the right thing, like Chris, I'll tell you, I know one of the things for me is I felt like since I was the first attorney and the only attorney that had been convicted of a major felony, spent 12 years of my life in prison, that they allowed to practice law in Indiana, I knew that I'm under a microscope. So if I'm out here and I do something, people, see, you should have never been an attorney.
Yeah.
And so, and then also being African American,
sure.
And there's that, and like, well, he got a DI, whatever, all this kind of stuff like that people can try to put you on the microscope. So you have this felony conviction, that people are going to put you on the microscope, and some people are going to expect you to fail. And so what you want to do is continue to do the right thing and show them wrong day in and day out.
Sure, absolutely, and I think that's a big thing. And I think the law field, you going into law, is a perfect place for someone to be able to do that, because there's so many things that, hell, let's just say there's so many things that if you want to play devil's advocate, that people could have given you, but at the end of the day, you've got to pass the bar. You had to study and do that work. And so if it was just something that was given to you, okay, well, we've got this extra slot, let's let him go in here to college. It's not like as long as you show up, if someone gives it to you, you got it. That's not it. Because there's lots of people that go to law school that don't pass the bar, that aren't out here practicing and aren't making a career. And it's not something, you've been now a lawyer for how many years?
Since 2009.
Okay, and I would like to say that was just a couple of years ago, because in my mind it is, but that's now been a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so, we're coming up on 20 years. So, it seems like you've made it through that now, and it's hopefully, to those people and to yourself, you've proven that you are now, the real deal. You're out here doing it, and you help people, and I think that's magnificent, and it's wonderful. And I'm glad that you've had that opportunity, and that you are able to do what you're doing. And so I think that's fantastic, and that's why I like your story, and I just I'm kind of drawn to what you're doing, because it's that story of redemption, and a lot of people don't get that chance, whether because of their own actions or other people's actions. It is a hard thing to do, and so it's cool that you've done that, and that's awesome. So, I guess now leading into kind of the other thing. So for the last couple of years, basically since 2022, there have been a number of things that's happened that's brought you kind of back to your hometown, in a sense, because you've been doing, civil rights law for various people in Henry County. Before all of this, had you done a lot of cases in Henry County, or you're now more from Indianapolis area? So were you just kind of more down there?
No, so I was doing criminal defense in Newcastle, Henry County,
okay,
Madison, Delaware. Basically Indianapolis, surrounding the donut counties, and maybe an hour, a couple hours away at most from Indianapolis, just because it kind of gets cost prohibitive. But what really brought me to Newcastle is I was getting reports from a certain family member of mine about what was going on. And I'll be honest with you, I I didn't take it all that serious. It just seemed to be a little bit unbelievable of what I was hearing. And then when I started getting actual calls, it was like, whoa, this is really true. This is really true. So, and I'll tell you something I don't think I've said publicly. So this will be the first, breaking news
exclusive
on a Kristopher Bilbrey show. Is I started taking these cases in Henry County thinking that the only thing I was going to do is let the sheriff know that people were speaking out. Like I didn't think that they were going to like go anywhere. Like I didn't think that like there's going to be, a massive like lawsuit and them settling. I just did it based on principle. I didn't like what I was seeing, what I was hearing, and I said I have to do at least something by doing these tort claims, even if I don't make a dime from them. That was my original reason for doing it, was just because I wanted the voice to be heard of the people that felt like they had no voice. And then it kind of bloomed into, oh, okay, well, let's do a tort claim and that settlement, and yes, and Mary is that person exactly. And it went from that to lawsuit. It just ballooned. But originally, the reason why was just because I just wanted to be the voice for the people there in Newcastle.
I'll tell you what, I love hearing you say that, because my life and the things that I've done throughout my life has put me in contact with, and I've been around throughout most of my life, different attorneys, and I've been around a lot of attorneys throughout my life, as having been in law enforcement. Then I worked in the prosecutor's office. And so there's a lot of attorneys that I consider personal friends, people I've known my entire life. But I will tell you, in the last 20 years, like a lot of other people, there have been a lot of attorneys that have let me down, because I'll see something and I'll turn somebody over to something and I'll say, hey, you ought to go over here and see this person or see that person. And it just doesn't go. I feel like, in my opinion, I'm like, man, the attorneys are out there to do exactly what you're doing, to stand up and say, hey, look, this isn't right. Somebody is looking, and I'm out here to do this. Whether I win, money or I get paid or this happens, you're doing the thing that I feel like a lot of, I've got to the point where I've told people, and there's people watching this, that I've said, there are no attorneys out there really that are fighting the good fight anymore. And I kind of do the same thing that you're doing. I'll get people that'll call me and tell me things. And I hear like people say, well, you ought to look over here in Alexandria, or you ought to look over here in Lynn, or you ought to look here in Newcastle, because this is going on. And I hear so much of it. And some of it's just talking, and some of it's people not understanding. And it just is like unbelievable, kind of like you say. And that's how it was with Newcastle and Henry County. When people started asking me to look into Henry County in like 2020. And I was like, first of all, I don't know that why I should be, because I'm not from Newcastle or Henry County. And second of all, I don't know that I have anything to offer to help you guys. But third of all, I don't know that there's anything actually going on there. And then the more that people started speaking up and doing those things, I started hearing more and more stuff. And I realized that I did have something to offer them. And the stories that seemed not believable, quickly I was like, damn, that really is going on. This thing really is happening. And like you, now I'm to the point where, when specifically out of Henry County, when I hear something, I'm like, yeah, that's probably, however crazy that is, that probably did happen. And so it's really taught me to kind of look at that more than just, pushing that away. But I liked hearing you say that, because it gives me faith that there are people out there that are still willing to do the right thing. And that's good.
Yeah, I think too, that, if it's a private attorney such as myself, then you also have the issue of running a business, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have a business to run, and it's not a nonprofit, so it is to make a profit, so I can pay the staff, so I can help people and things like that. So it's not like, people come and, want me to take all these cases free, things like that. It's kind of like, I don't have the bandwidth to do all that, because then the quality starts to suffer, right?
Yes.
If I'm over here doing all this stuff free. So there is, attorneys that are on the spectrum that you talked about, where they're just basically trying to make money, and that's it. Nothing wrong with that if that's what your goal is. But then there's also some that are really out here trying to do the good work because they're people, right? Whether and becoming an attorney, in my opinion, a judge, whatever, a podcaster, it doesn't make you become something you're not. I feel like if you're dishonest and you become a lawyer, you're going to continue to be dishonest, and then you're going to use the power that you have to be more dishonest. Same thing from the president on down. It doesn't really necessarily change you unless you let it. And for me, I'm basically, I'm not going to say I'm the same person I was years ago, because I like to think that I'm continuing to grow, mature, and learn. But some of my core values are remaining the same. Like, I'm not out here just trying to cheat people, take advantage of folks, and things like that. But I also know that I'm a small firm, and I don't have enough bandwidth to take care of everybody. And obviously the bigger firms, they're looking at it from the dollar point, where I can take some smaller cases. Bigger firms, they have all that overhead, and they're not even probably going to look at your case unless they can get maybe a 6-figure or high figure judgment, because it's not going to be worth it to them with all the money they invest in it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Asking a question that had popped up a little bit ago, being around and practicing in different areas, and I know the answer, but I want to see your answer from being an attorney, and from what you've done over the last 20 some years. Is what you're seeing in Henry County, does that seem to be the norm just everywhere? It's going real crazy, wild everywhere like that, or do you think that there's an anomaly in Henry County, either at the moment, or it's been for a minute? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Is it just kind of all hell breaking loose everywhere, or is something specifically going on in Henry County?
I think it's a little bit of a combination of both. I think it's an anomaly, country wide, with the politics that are in place, and this somebody phrased it as there are people that are enjoying hurting other people, right? That it seems like they're just taking satisfaction in seeing people suffer. And normally, you would like to think that wouldn't be the government just, taking like a thrill in trying to make people suffer. And I think because we're in this period where people in positions of power are doing that, then it's trickling down. Like, people talk about my staff being nice. I like to think it's because of me, and it kind of trickles down.
Sure.
Where if you have somebody up here that's kind of rotten at the top, then the staff and everybody else is going to do the same thing. And then you have people, I think, that are just trying to kind of maybe mimic being like a dictator or an autocrat. And so when you have somebody that is in a position of power, like the sheriff, and he thinks he is the law, and that's it, and whatever he says goes, and then that's when you get the abuse, because no one can tell the person any different, right? Then you have other places where you see the sheriff getting involved in, I think it was Clark County, where the sheriff was involved in some kind of scandalous with embezzling or something like that. And boom, this person, he actually ends up getting convicted and stuff.
Yeah.
So there is this kind of, seems like we're in this period where people are just are enjoying being mean to each other's. And maybe I'm just getting older and just maybe getting softer. I don't know, but it just seems like there's more of that. So I guess, I know it was a long answer.
No, you're fine.
But the answer to the question is, there is this period, there is a situation where I think Henry County, with what is going on with the sheriff and the abuse and shooting people in the jail, like the Marquette Neal, just the things that, and then there's another lawsuit where someone was an employee and said that he wanted them to lie on for him. Just that kind of stuff there should be unusual for law enforcement, but it just seems like the hits keep on coming in Henry County one after another. And I will say, I've not had a deposition such as the one I've done with someone in law enforcement in my life as combative as he was. It was, somewhat, it was actually absurd, and it was actually a disgrace to law enforcement. So that kind of stuff there that is not normal. That is not normal. And I watched your podcast where you mentioned, some routine questions, that people ask, are you intoxicated? Are you on any kind of medication? That's your routine. And to get so combative about that stuff there is not normal. And I did see Wayne County, which I think is, I think it may be Richmond. Anytime you have people, you're always going to have people falling short and some kind of, corruption or whatever.
Yeah, sure. And I'll tell you, I've been involved in, it's normal people. If you're just out living your life, a lot of people don't even know what a deposition is. A normal person's more than likely never going to be involved in a deposition in their life. And that's not to fault anybody. That means you're probably living a good life and you're normal, and that's normal. I've had the occasion to be involved in several depositions doing what I do now. I've been involved in some lawsuits, and so that's happened. And then I've also been involved in depositions when I was in law enforcement. And so that's happened. And I'll tell you, first and foremost, he's the sheriff, obviously, but when I was in law enforcement, if I had acted the way that he did in a deposition, and like my higher ups would have found out about it, I would have got my ass chewed. I would have been in trouble. You know what I mean? Because it is a disgrace. It was very disgraceful the way that he was acting and coming off. And again, that just shows you that he mistakenly thinks that he's the end of the line. He does not realize that the public is actually the end of the line, and that the public gets a chance to correct his actions or not. So that's interesting. But yeah, it was very, very strange. I'll tell you, I've been involved in one deposition where we were being sued over something. I was being sued because during a fight, there was a legitimate fight, and a suspect's key got bent. His key got bent and it broke. And I was added in a lawsuit somehow because I was apparently involved in this during the scuffle. And the guy was just way out of control. His attorney was way out of control. And I was combative in my answers, but still respectful to the process, respectful to it. Well, at that time, it was like in real life, and they had the court reporter there and all that. So I was respectful to like the people in the room, but I could just never have imagined answering questions for the length of time that you guys were in there, just the way he was from point one to the end. That way it was nuts. But it's very eye-opening, and I think that's why it's important those things are seen, because a lot of times those things aren't going to be seen. So I was glad that I was able to put that out there. And I do want to state for the record, and I don't know if I think I said it that night, but that was not something that you provided me, your office provided me. I got that through another way, another form, and so I want to put that out on the record, so there's no, to set that record straight right here, that was not provided from you. So I want to put that out there as well. But moving on, and I know when we started this, you said you only had a few minutes, so we'll get ready to shut her down here. But I do want to talk about this, and I know that this is a very touchy situation. So if I ask you something that you can't answer, I don't take that as being wrong or bad. But obviously, you are there's several folks in Henry County or around Henry County, or that have been involved in Henry County that you were representing. Obviously, right now, that's real big right now is going on is the unfortunate situation with Nicholas Gulley. Yeah. And it seems as if, from what I've heard and what I've read, that you are now representing his family in some kind of action. And I guess one of the main things that I wanted to know, that you guys have issued a tort notice to the county. And at the time you did that, Nicholas was still here, but unfortunately he's passed. Does that change does that change what you guys will be doing? Does that change something? Does the suit change? I mean, what goes on there since he has now passed, or is that something that you can answer?
Yeah. So I mean, the notice of tort claim is public. So and so that is something that is out there, and we did do the notice of tort claim. We also did another one after he passed to update the fact that he did pass, and my prayers to the family, and it's honored to be associated with them, that they chose us. I went to school with his dad and his
okay.
mother.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So there is that connection. In the past, when I've had clients that have passed, I had a case where it was Uber driver ended up killing my client, and we open up an estate. So what happens when you actually file the lawsuit? You open an estate, and then the estate is the person that sues. So if the time comes for someone like Nicholas Gulley to sue, then it will be the estate of Nicholas Gulley II that can sue, and obviously family members that may have been stressed out because of this, intentional infliction of emotional distress, things like that. They could be on that lawsuit as well. So but it does change when someone passes. Is that an estate now? I'm not an estate attorney,
sure,
but I do work with one that knows all the ins and outs about how to do that stuff. And actually, I spoke with her yesterday. So that's what happens when someone is like the victim of police brutality, excessive force, or even a car accident, and they pass, then they sue, and the estate ends up suing.
Okay. And so, I mean, obviously that could possibly change like what exactly you're suing for. Like, and I don't, my area, obviously, I always say this, I'm not an attorney, but I spent a lot of time around the criminal law side. I'm not as familiar with the civil law side. But whatever the situation, whatever the specific claims that you're suing there for, does that ever get into like a wrongful death? I mean, is that just nonsense I'm saying, or is that something that's
that's correct. So just think of I have one in northern Indiana. You think of like battery. So the guy, he was battered, held against his will, so you're talking about unlawful search and seizure. Sure. Things like that, but the person still survived. So you're not going to do a wrongful death here. In a case like Nicholas Gulley, obviously, there is the component of wrongful death.
Okay.
And then that does, obviously, it's one thing that, please put handcuffs on you and beat you up. I'm not saying that's cool, but the damages, are going to be magnified if there is actually that loss of life.
Sure. So, like, for example, back in 2017, I was speaking in a Winchester, Indiana City Council meeting, and because I was speaking in the meeting, I stood up, I spoke, and I got ready to leave. And as I was leaving, the police came out. They get me. They throw me into the wall. They torque my hands behind my back, do all that stuff. They put me in handcuffs and take me to jail. And so they didn't end up filing, the prosecutor's office didn't file charges on me, said it was an unlawful, unjust arrest. And we sued because of, First Amendment issues and Fourth Amendment issues and all of that. But, and there's obviously there was a civil rights issues there, but it didn't result in my death. So that's one thing. But had I been killed at the jail or something happened at the jail or whatever, then it would have been, it translates into the wrongful death. So I hate how this has turned out. And I wish that this had a different ending. But my whole thing is I'm hoping that his death is not for nothing, that if this is the situation that it had to be, hopefully something is able to happen here. Now, have you guys asked, and again, if you can't answer that, that's fine. Have you guys asked for now as a result of the death? And that's the other thing. I know that the Marion County coroner's office has come out and issued the preliminary coroner's verdict as a natural death. And in my opinion, and again, I'm not an attorney, so I want to tell it for everybody out there, but in my opinion, the police brutality or the brutality of him being, when they went hands on with him, yeah, it could be on a scale of 1 to 10, it could be a 4 or 5. But in my opinion, the negligence of the people to jail during his illness is the worst part. And I guess what I'm getting at is, because of that negligence that has now resulted in a death, I think that you can have negligence that still results in a natural death. But had that negligence not been there, that natural cause might not have happened, so he wouldn't have died at that point. Have you guys asked, or is there a mechanism for you guys to ask for a criminal investigation into what happened?
Yeah, there. Obviously, anyone can ask for them to investigate criminally. Doesn't mean that they're going
Sure.
to do it. We had a case, and it actually is going on still, where our client was beat in prison. They beat him so bad that he had to get still ribs. I mean, it's just horrific, and this is so bad that the state police, when they did their investigation, they recommended to the prosecutors to file charges against these correctional officers, and the prosecutor refused to do it. Right. So, but getting back to your point, that yes, you're correct. I mean, think of if someone has I don't know, the flu or some kind of sickness, and I think even diabetes, you could die from that.
Sure.
And if you're in jail and they don't give you, let's say, the medication or the treatment that you need, and you go into some kind of diabetic shock, coma, and die, that could still be under wrongful death, because, and like I said, neglect, because they knew that you needed this medication that could save your life and all that, and then you end up dying, and the coroner says, oh well, they died because of diabetic shock or the flu or whatever it is that the jail did not provide the proper treatment for. And also, even putting you in the hospital to begin with, it's like, why was the person even in the hospital? Was it because of abuse that they suffered at the jail? And then what they call, like in law school, the eggshell skull, where you may have a really soft eggshell skull, and someone taps you in the head and fractures your skull. It's like, hey, that's what you get for tapping them in the head. I mean, you not everybody's head would break like that, but this person
Sure.
had an eggshell skull. And if Nicholas Gulley already had some pre-existing medical condition, and then the sheriff's deputies, all that, exacerbated by roughing him up, not giving him medical treatment, then he dies, it may still look like a natural, so-called natural death, but it was precipitated by the abuse and the neglect he received at the jail.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. Before we roll, let me ask you this. The situation with the deposition that we looked at, where you're representing Mr. Allwood against Sproles. That's a defamation case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, how that's been going on for some time. I mean, that's been going on basically since the Marquette Neal things. I mean, that's like right when I got involved with looking into Sproles, with him going out and doing the whole, his crusade against the small town departments, and the whole, the word he kept using, the small town scam scheme thing, which was, I thought, man, if he says that one more time, I'm going to lose it. But what's the situation in that case? I mean, can you give us a little bit of an update with what's happening there, or talk about that if you can?
Yeah. So this is a case that was one where I really didn't want to take. To be honest with you, Corey kept hounding me to take the case, and because of my relationship with Corey, I went ahead and did it, right? I mean, Corey is someone that I met while we were in prison. He was at that time, he's obviously no longer, but he was, the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood. And
That's an interesting meeting.
Yeah. And I, as a lay advocate, which is someone that represents people when they're in trouble, in prison, I, as what they call lay advocate, actually represented him while we were in prison,
Okay.
And then, fast forward, many years later, decade plus whatever later, he's out now and we reconnect. And then when he's telling me about this, I'm like, it's very nuanced, because in the sense of, there's a part that is, was he ever, right? Was he ever a member of that? Yes. But that's different than what the sheriff said in the news by saying he is. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's someone saying, well, Mark was in prison. Yes, that's true. But to say I am, I mean, those are two different. Then
words matter.
Right. And then to say that, someone is infiltrated, like, I'm infiltrating the legal profession to try to turn everybody into criminals, saying that's what Corey's trying to do. That's just going by. These are not opinions, right? These are things that are being stated as fact.
Sure.
And these are things that were out there in the public that he, specifically said that they're just flat out wrong. They're just not true. They're lies, and I think it was done to try to defame him. And he denied it, as you saw in the and then about 2.5 hours in, finally he admits that he was talking about it. It's like, so I know there's an election coming up. I mean, hey, people, I can't vote there because I'm not from, I don't live in Henry County, I'm not a resident there, but I hope that people do the right thing and vote the guy out of office. You know what I'm saying? Because he's, I mean, these are things that are public, Chris, that I've seen with the town or county commissioner meetings, and seeing that they're saying that they're essentially, this may be a little bit hyperbolic, saying they're going bankrupt, but I mean they are spending a lot of money trying to defend the things that the sheriff has done, and they got that letter, and that letter is like, hey, this sheriff is not doing things right, and we're going to drop you.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something else.
Twice.
Yes. I'll tell you something else. That this isn't Corey's case, but when I first started doing the sheriff cases, the insurance company that was dealing with them, asked, is there anything else? And there was only like maybe 1 or 2 tort claims. Yeah. And I said, there's several more coming. You know what I'm saying? Because people just were calling. But, and that was like the beginning, the tip of the iceberg of all these tort claims that started coming. And they're not just from me. There's, there's some other ones, other people have these other ones. There's that, there's some car chases where they resulted in accidents or something like that. I see that Corey's getting to talk about Johnny Cochran. So basically, what that is when I was lay advocate in prison, if I won a case, people called me Johnny Cochran because it was during that period. If I lost, who'd you have? Johnny Cochran.
Yes.
So that's where that came from. But that was the tip of the iceberg with the sheriff, and then it just kind of snowballed. It just snowballed from there.
Well, it's funny you mentioning that, because so obviously watching Sproles, I mean, so it's a weird thing because I do political commentary basically anywhere someone says, specifically in my area. So East Central Indiana, Muncie, Delaware County, Winchester, Randolph County, Anderson, Madison County, Henry County, Newcastle. If somebody calls me and there's something interesting going on, I'll look at it. We've looked at stuff in New Mexico before in different areas. So I'll look wherever, but definitely hear what's going on local, obviously at the state level and national when that's needed. But it's such a big thing in Henry County, and there's and I'll just say what it is. And some of it's for the drama. Some of it's because people are interested. I'm hoping people are actually getting educated and paying attention and going to do the right damn thing this time, because I told the people in October of 2022, when I found out that the man had only been a deputy for 2.5 years, I said he does not And this is before all the craziness. This is before anything really crazy. The only thing crazy that had happened at that time was his boy had cheated at the academy and got thrown out, and Sproles had went down to the academy and showed his ass down there. And I was like, yep, this is what I'm afraid of, that he's got he's a hothead, and this man not having, because when I first got introduced to Sproles, I thought he was a 20-year veteran. And I thought, okay, he looks the part, he's sharp, he's looking good in uniform. This is who you want as a sheriff. And I'm going to tell you, I know exactly where I was when I found out that he'd only been on for 2 years, and I didn't need to hear any more. He could have been the best dude in the world, no issue. And I just knew I no longer supported his run for sheriff, because I felt that the sheriff's department needs to be led by somebody that has a little bit more understanding. It's kind of like when somebody's a new parent, right? And then they're a teacher at school. I'm going to think that a teacher at school who is a parent of kids that are 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds are going to be better suited to be a teacher than a new mom of a 6-month-old, just because you've got the experience of dealing with children. Well, when you're a deputy and you've been on the road for 20 years, you're going to have more depth of knowledge than somebody that's been on the road for a year. That's just common sense. And so I remember right where I was when I heard that I changed. And I told the people what I felt he was going to be like. And I tell you, he's done me right. He's everything I said he's done worse than. It's been insane. And so I hope, like you said, the people are definitely paying attention. But it's funny because the first time the insurance company dropped him, they said that he was there was a change in his risk, in the sheriff's department's risk management. And they did ask if, is this all there is, when the new insurance company was coming in. Well, now the new insurance companies come in, and they've been representing him since 2024. And then now they're dropping them, and they're saying like, hey, look, we're done. And now there's another new company, and literally they said like, look, you guys need to kick the rocks and find, is there anything else that's happening? Because that company's trying to decide if whether or not they're going to come in or not. And then that was actually right before Nicholas passed. And so I almost have to wonder if we're going to hear in the next couple of weeks that third insurance company is going to say, we're not doing it. You got to go someplace else. And the insurance guy said, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. He said, the good news is you guys are going to have insurance. The bad news is it's going to be like you don't have insurance. And I tell you, that is not a good thing to hear. And I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I definitely hope that the citizens of Newcastle are paying attention. I think they are. And the other thing is, and I'm not going to get too far into this because I don't go into personal life, but there's been a lot of personal life issues going on with Sproles. And I think that one of the big things that he had going into the first election was he had the backing of his church. And I feel like a lot of the church people have kind of backed away from him. And that's, I don't take any glee in that. And I hope that he can ask for forgiveness, and I hope that he can find himself, and that there's a way that he can change his ways, because he's living a different life than what he proclaims, and that's between him and his God, not for me to decide. But I hope that the people are paying attention, and I hope maybe he wakes up one of these days. I don't know, because he's living a strange life.
One of the things, Chris, before I have to go, is that people in position of power, when they're in government like that, and I saw someone posted it on there, is it's sometimes harder for them to come to the light because it's not their money, right?
Yeah.
It's the taxpayers' money. And, someone sues you, someone sues me, and money's coming out of our pocket. We're going to pay attention because we see that. But if you're over here and you're, using taxpayer dollars, it's like, there's an insurance company money, sometimes it's not that serious. But as you said, the people, the citizens of Henry County start seeing, maybe if they work for the government, they're not getting, raises because, there's not money there. Maybe it cuts into their retirement, all these kind of things like that. Then they pay attention, because they're not seeing what they want to see as far as their income, and maybe, you know, taxes or something like that gets increased and all that. And then that can motivate them to say, hey, we got to take action. We got to get here and vote for a change, because they see things are not going the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, very good, sir. I know we only had you for a little bit. I want to say that you are always welcome back here. I know, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. As I said the night that I did the deposition, the sheriff accused us of being friends. I'm not opposed to that. I think that you're an awesome dude. I appreciate what you're doing. I've never, I mean, for the record here with both of us, tell me if I'm lying. I've never been to your house. You've never been to mine. We've never been out eating. I've talked to you on the phone a handful of times. We've texted a handful of times. I'm not opposed to a friendship, but this is the beginning, not the middle. So I don't know where he gets that from.
Yeah, this is the longest I think we've ever talked. We've never met in person. And I'm not really understanding why he's even concerned about who my friends are.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But for whatever reason, that kind of got caught up on that. But you know, like I said, I'm not opposed to being friends with anybody really. That's good people.
Yeah.
But for him to say that, you know, it was like, you know, if it was a bad thing, maybe there would be a defamation suit, you know. But since you're a good guy, hey, we want to say we're friends, okay?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, right.
I've been associated with worse people than you. So.
Well, that's true. So have I.
Yeah. So
very good. Well, I appreciate it, and like I said, you're welcome here anytime. If there's ever anything that happens, you know how to reach out. We'll definitely put out whatever is going on. I hope the best for you and your clients. And yeah, that's it. I mean, if there's anything else you have to say, I'll give you the last word.
Oh no! Once again, thank you, Chris, for having me on, and for all the people that are listening, the supporters. I really do appreciate it, because it was without people like you guys, you know, bringing the stuff to the spotlight, you know, and letting me know what's going on, and trusting me to try my best to help people. I wouldn't be able to do it. So continue to get the word out and keep up the good fight, brother. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
As far as I'm concerned, if someone said that I'm a friend of the show, and any friend of this show is a friend of yours. So
all right, yeah. I appreciate it. Very good, sir. You have a good rest of your Sunday, and we'll continue following what's going on in your legal career.
Take care, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Mark Nicholson, and I'll tell you, I was going to tell him, or ask him rather, if there was a way, if people needed to reach out to him, what was that way? But I feel like he's being inundated right now. I know that I am. So probably what we'll keep it as is until he gives me the word. I didn't want to put it out on YouTube. I guess I should have asked him ahead of time. But what we'll do is, if somebody is in a situation where you're in need of an attorney, specifically in the civil rights field, in criminal defense, or public injury, and you or someone you know needs an attorney, contact me. I'll contact him, and I'll put you two in touch with each other. There are a couple of attorneys that I know that I can just go ahead and give the information, but like he said, he's a smaller firm, and I know he's inundated right now. So what we'll do is we'll just continue to do as we have been doing, and then maybe at some point he'll say, "Oh yeah, you can put that up." But that's the reason I did not do that. If you feel like you're in a situation where you need to talk to Mark, or you want to see about hiring him, all you need to do is reach out to me, and I will make that happen. I'll get in contact with him and let you know what's going on. And if he's too busy and he can't do it, there are other attorneys that we work with and that I know that are willing to take. Actually, right now there are a couple people who I've put in contact, and they're working with one of my attorneys. one of my attorney friends, and then they're for like a criminal aspect, and then they're working with Mark on another aspect. And you can reach out to Mary Nicholson as well if you know how to do that. You can figure out how to do that. You can always get her on here or tell me, hey, I want to talk to Mary. We'll figure that out. We'll make that happen. Yeah. Hey, Ejac, yeah, that you're right. Unfortunately, it is not green screen. That is still here. But it's because I was doing more work in the actual studio this weekend and getting stuff ready. And all of a sudden, it just clicked. It dawned on me. I was in there with a family member, and we were looking at it, and the family member said, hey, what are you doing with these? And I was like, I don't know. And this family member said, well, you need to do this and this and this with it. And it just clicked. And I was like, oh, that is an amazing idea. So in the middle of yesterday afternoon, some shit clicked, and we're now going out and hunting for a couple of things. I cannot wait. I cannot wait till we do the very first show there. It is coming. It is absolutely coming. Oh yeah. What do you mean nothing looks touched? We've taken everything off this back thing. We took all that shit down. We've moved the rest of the house things. There's things up here. You see, you can't see. You can't see. You're just seeing this. There's stuff here that's missing. I no longer have my soundboard here. My soundboard is all completely gone. And I'm running off of my little gray thing. Now let me see here. Is there a way I can show you guys? I think there's a way I can show you guys. Let me see. No, I'm not going to do that. You'll just see it. It'll happen. You'll be happy. Shut up. Okay. Moving on to the second part. Let's see here. Wait, what are you guys talking about over there? Is Sproles listening? What are you guys talking about? Not so. Why didn't his attorney tell him to back off? Before we move on to that other part, why didn't his attorney tell him back off? I'm going to tell you, I don't even like saying this because I don't want Sproles to be able to like change anything. I almost feel like, yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Not so fast. And you want to know why? Because you're paying that attorney. And they're supposed to be representing you and giving the very best counsel possible. In Sproles' case, Sproles isn't paying that attorney. That attorney is representing an insurance company who no longer is being paid by Henry County. That insurance company dropped Henry County back in 2024, and they're still having to deal with his dumbass. And so I kind of feel like they are almost giving him ineffectual counsel. I almost feel bad for Sproles because his attorneys aren't working for it. First of all, Sproles' attorney knows it's a waste of time to try to get him to listen. That's probably first and foremost. But second of all, I think they're pissed off with him. I think they're tired of him. I think they're kind of leaving him out to hang, because I'll be honest, I think the attorneys are wanting to get over and be done and settle and give money and be done with it. I don't think they want to work with him any longer. And so it's Sproles that's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think he gets to push them so far, but I think there's eventually a point where they're like, we're not doing that no more. So during that deposition, I said it from the very get-go, that attorney was working on other shit the whole time. He was muted it some of the times. He wasn't even paying attention. He wasn't even paying attention. It was crazy. And Mary is right. Mary is right. They did check him once or twice. I think they checked him hard once, and then there were a couple times where his attorney just kind of like laughed and scoffed and was just kind of like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It was very strange, very strange. Okay, so I want to just briefly say again a big thank you to Mary. I know Mark through Mary. And that's how that came to be. And Mary is a badass, and her brother's a badass, and I think his background story is very cool. But I'll be honest, I didn't I didn't want to push him on that because I don't want to be like, well, so tell me about all the time that you went to prison and all the good things that led up to that and everything. You know, I want him to talk about what he's comfortable with that, and hell, he wrote a book about it, so I know he's comfortable talking. But we'll have him back on sometime and maybe take a deep dive when we have more time or whatnot. I knew we just had a little bit of time with him, and I wanted to cover as much as we could in that brief time. But yes, Mark is cool. So, all right, moving on. We need to talk about this situation with Muncie and Prairie Creek. The price of Prairie Creek and Muncie. You know, what I'm saying is, you know, what is it? The price of tea in China, price of eggs in China, whatever that thing is. So that's where I'm getting that from. The price of Prairie Creek and Muncie. I'm hoping to get him to come speak in town and tell his story. Yeah, so maybe I could like record that when that happened. That would be cool. That would be awesome. And then you're able to poke and prod and get all of the information out of him, and I can just record it because as his sister, you know, you're able to tell me more about why you're going to prison, or I'm going to go tell on you or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's that. Okay, yeah, this Prairie Creek deal, folks. There's been a lot of stuff going on. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the election. There's been a lot of stuff going on, obviously, with Nick Gulley. People have been messaging me and saying, "Hey, are you done talking about Prairie Creek? There's a lot of craziness going on." No, I've been following what's going on with Prairie Creek. I've been listening. I've been hearing all of the outcries of people. I know that people are still mad. I know for a fact that Dan is just not doing anything. He's got very little plan, if any. And I know that he's just, I know that he's just not, I don't know what he's doing. I honestly don't know what he's doing. It was November 19th. When we all went and stood at the outside of his office on the third floor of the Muncie City Hall and listened to the mayor say that there would be no seasonal long-term camping on the north shore of Prairie Creek for 2026 and beyond. And I knew when he said it then. You can go back and listen. All you got to do, you can go back and listen to any show that I talked about directly after that situation that I told you all nothing is going to come of this. They don't have a plan. They won't have a plan. And it's all done. Yeah. So November 19th was when he had the press conference. That night, we did episode 561. So episode 561, Mayor Dan Ridenour Reimagining Muncie was the title of that episode. Reimagining Muncie. And I could promise you, without even going back and listening to what I said, I know that if you go and you listen to that episode, you listen to 561, or you jump and listen to 563, which is what about the other 133, okay? I promise you that you will hear me say, it's over. Ridenour doesn't have a plan. It's all psycho. It's all the things that he does when he says, we've got a crisis center and it's going to be open 24 hours a day. We have sold Prairie Creek. We've sold Southway Plaza. We have apartment buildings that's going to come to behind 12th Street gas station to Memorial and Tillotson. All of those things that he says, that he announces, and there's no follow through on. This is just another thing like that. Well, he's taken away a good majority of the revenue that should be coming in to Prairie Creek starting here in just a couple of weeks and through the rest of the remainder of the year. So what else is there for him to do? What can they do to try and make up for that? What is there something that they can do? Is anything? Well, ladies and gentlemen, on March 6th, which was Friday, I noticed a post was put up, concepts of a plan. Yeah, not even. That's hilarious. I knew that there would be nothing. And now I want you to look at this. I noticed that Prairie Creek Reservoir Park, they have their own Facebook page. Now, I want to be honest. I do not know who runs this page. I can tell you who I know doesn't run it. I know that the page is not currently ran by the communications department of the city of Muncie. So Amber Green does not run this page. I know that for a fact. Outside of that, I don't know who runs it. I don't know if it's the new superintendent of the park. And I'll be honest, I don't know who that is. I know they recently hired somebody. And oh no, that's right. It's Taylor something. It's Taylor something. They hired a guy called Taylor, and I don't know if he's running it. I don't know if one of the other employees is running it. Oh, and producer Polk just said Taylor Beard. Producer Polk, thank you very much. Okay, let me I cannot believe all night tonight nobody's asked where producer Kate's been. That's insane. Like, she's going to be very disappointed. Like, literally, I jump on and say producer Polk is here, and nobody says, like, oh, where's Kate? That is nuts to me.
Oh, I did comment up
earlier. You loser.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Well, a few minutes after you said it.
Wait, what happened? What did you say?
I said that I'm still here.
Oh, you loser.
Producer Polk now because Kristopher can't read.
I was going to say that. I didn't see you said that. That's my bad. I told her it was weird. I didn't know what she was talking about. The other night, for whatever reason, I started to say, thank you, Kate. But I was like looking at something else and I said, thank you, Polk. I don't know why. I don't know why I called her that. But I said, thank you, Polk. And then tonight when I popped on, she was down there and I had been like, so if she's not on screen, she can hear me, but I can't hear her. And so like I was like talking to her and like we were communicating, but without words. Well, she could hear me, but that was it. And I was looking, and I finally looked down and I realized that she had changed her name to Polk, which is hilarious. But okay, well, I didn't know that you had told him it was you. Well, anyways, so Never heard polk before. Yeah, I said it very quickly on the slide, or just it was very strange. Anyways, so okay, back to this. I don't know who's doing this, but I want to put this forward here so you guys can see this. So they made a post that said 2026 Prairie Creek prices. Okay, well. Reminders and info. Dock renewal, lottery entry, and campground extensions are due March 31st. If you currently have a dock and would like to switch, upgrade, come into our office April 1st through 3rd to make that change. We no longer have mooring docks. If you have a mooring dock that is paid for, you may also come in April 1st, 3rd to pick up your new dock. The dock lottery will be held on Facebook Live. Date will be announced soon. Watch for that if your name is in the drawing. The Parks Board meeting will be on March 17th at City Hall. It is open to the public. Feel free to come and voice any opinion or concern you have to the city. Listen to me, folks. I have heard people say, well, Ridenour won't be there, so there's no need in me coming. You can't say that this time. Doesn't matter if he's going to be there or not. Come to the meeting. Express yourself. You have to express yourself. You have to express yourself. Come to the meeting. Speak, let them know about your disappointment, because sitting at home and bitching about it on they don't care what we put on Facebook. It might rile other people up, but the city of Muncie does not care. To them, it doesn't exist. So here are the prices for 2026. Hey, Kate, could you do me minor favor? Can you look and see if you can find a price sheet like this for 2025?
I can't find one for 2025, but I found one for 2024.
That's all I need, because I couldn't find it for
I already
2025.
sent it to you. I'm way ahead of you already.
I love it. See, she didn't even know I was going to ask for that. I spent a long time yesterday looking for 2025, and I could not find it.
And to answer your question, Karen, Niles is asleep because Niles spent all weekend at Indy at a pew show.
You know what? I found out, again, I even wrote it on the calendar. You normally tell me in advance, but I wrote it on the calendar even. And Domino Real messaged me the other day and said, hey, are you going, or yesterday, and said, have you been to the 1500? And I was like, don't tell me it was today. And he's like, yep. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's horrible. Did he have a good time? Niles have a good time? They sell a lot?
They did good. They sold over 100.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they did good. So they're happy.
That's a lot of guns.
It was a good show.
That's good. That's great.
Well, they took around 300 handguns. And then a bunch of long guns, too. And then all their lounge fly and women's purses for concealed carry and stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's some work. I think they have 20 tables there. So, it said, you snooze, you lose. They give you some good deals there, man.
I know. It sucks. One of these days, I'm going to have to go down there.
3 years later, he'll show up. Hey, thanks, Amy. Yeah. I know you're Clint, but you know.
Okay. So let me see. Let me see what you sent me. You sent it to me here. All right, I see it. Okay, so we're going to look at there. She's got it there. God, I didn't even have to put it. Wait, did you put that up there? Did I?
You did.
Oh, I was going to say, holy shit. If you put that up there, Because I was literally just in the process of doing it, but I thought you did it.
No,
That was
you
great.
did it.
Okay.
I just want to know, do you want me to stay up so I can look at the 2024?
Yeah,
and
if you could-
compare directly as the 2026 as you're going through?
Yeah, if you
Would that
could
be
do
good?
that. Yeah.
Sure.
So which one should we put up?
Put up the 2026. This is the new one.
All right, so I'm just showing everybody. Here's 2024, and then the 2026 is this. And so we'll do it like this, okay? And so everybody's aware, we tried to find a 2025, but a 2025 is not out there. I'm wondering if they just kept the prices the same.
I think they had from 2024 to 2025. I think I remember that from the park board.
So we're just going to say for right now that the prices stayed the same. If we find out that that is wrong, I will update this and let you all know. But as of right now, I believe that 2024, they didn't raise prices in 2025. That's why there wasn't a new price sheet. Okay. So now I believe that. Kate believes it, and Clint said it. So that's what we're going to stick with unless and until someone proves me wrong. And if that happens, we will definitely eat it and let you know. Okay, so for 2026, they are saying seasonal docks floating pier is $680. For 2024, what was the floating dock? Or 2024-25, what was the floating dock? Floating pier.
Floating pier was $625.
$625. Okay. So it raised. Okay. And the Wood Pier Sailboat Club for 2026 is $560. What was it in 2024?
$500.
Okay, so it went up $60. Okay. Okay. So 55. So the floating pier went up $55. You said it was the other one was $500. So that went up $60. Okay. Events and days. Do
they have mooring pier on there?
No, they said they're not doing the mooring pier anymore.
Okay.
So what was the mooring pier in 2024?
It was $300.
$300. Okay. So I wonder if they're doing. I don't know. We'll have to find out. The mooring pier was $300. Okay. So for the events and days, the small and large 100 plus is 50 / small is 50, large plus is 150.
I don't even see that on here.
You don't see that?
No, what is it?
It's the events, small and large. Okay, I'll tell you where we can look elsewhere to find that here in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, boat launch, daily, annual. Daily is $30. Annual is $200.
Okay, so the daily was $15.
Oh, wow.
And the annual was $150.
Okay, so that went up by 15 and that went up by 50. Okay, non-motor daily is 10, annual is 50.
So non-motor was 5.
Okay.
And annual was 40.
40. Okay, so it went up by 5 and 10. Bank fishing. You got to pay to bank fish?
Yeah.
Bank fishing daily is 5, annual is 25.
Daily was 3 and annual was 15.
Okay. So, I mean, wow. $10 for annual. Okay, this is an interesting beach entry.
Okay.
Beach entry 0 to 2 is $2. 3 to 11 is $4, and 12 plus is $5.
In 2024, it was free for all ages.
Free for all ages.
You
Free
have to pay
for
$2 to take a baby on the beach?
Yeah, that's ludicrous. That's absolutely ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
That's insanity.
Okay, daily rentals, primitive tent per night, $17.
Those were 13.
Okay, so that went up 4. And cabin per night was 100.
Was 75.
So it went up 25. Community building leaseholders only per day, 100.
Is that the shelter?
Yeah. I don't know if that's a shelter or not.
Because I don't see community building on here.
Cabin, shelter, community building. So security deposit for the cabin or shelter.
No. I don't see that on here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Do they have shelters on there?
The shelter is 58.
It's plus tax, right?
It just says 58.
Okay, well, this says it was 54 plus $3.78 tax for a total of $57.78.
Okay, weird.
So if the tax is included, that's up the same. Wow, one of them's the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yay!
That's amazing. Tent cabin minimum 2-night stay, 3 on holidays. Tent cabin minimum 2-night stay. Maximum 7 nights in a 30-day period.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
You have to
Minimum 2 nights.
Yeah. You have to stay there 2 nights, and you're not allowed to have more than 7 nights in any 3
So
months.
you can't just go camp for 1 night?
No. I'm guessing not. That's
Why?
what it says. You're asking me why any of this is going on? Why am I paying $2 for my baby to go on the beach?
Well, so we're not the only people that think that this is ludicrous.
Oh, is there anything about campers or seasonal RVs on there?
No.
Oh.
No, because they got rid of it.
Oh, that's right. They got rid of that. That was $14.50.
Yeah. That's big. So where is that at? Oh yeah, seasonal RVs, $1,400. Seasonal RV fee includes 1 golf cart. Additional golf carts are $100, plus the camper winter storage is $250. And so, listen, I don't think that's terribly bad.
No.
$1,450 for a seasonal spot out there.
Well, how long is the season?
Well, from April
until the end of October, right?
Yeah.
So that's what? April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So that's 7 months, it's 200 days.
Yeah. You can camp for 1 night.
It's $7.25 a night.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
But
most camp places are, $10 or $15 for parking your RV overnight.
Yeah. You can camp for 1 night, but you got to pay for 2.
Okay. But that's a big chunk of revenue lost.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
230 some sites.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of change gone.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's just insane to me.
Absolutely.
Stumblefoot says he thinks it's a little high.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people that do, and that's not right. And you guys are probably right. I also don't have a camper. You know what I mean. So whatever. I'm just saying shit, really. But as far as that goes, but look at this. 414 comments, 156 shares, 202 reactions. This got a lot of traction for the city, and it's all bad. Do y'all supply the lube? These rates are ridiculous. Hell, I think I'll run for mayor to put a superintendent back in charge. Most of the parks boards have to use GPS just to find the reservoir. Most of the park board, Clint, most of the park board has to use GPS just to find the reservoir. What about, I believe the kids call that ratio. Yeah. I was going to say it, but then I thought, nah, I'm not going to say that. What about seasonal pier renting? I think we talked about that, didn't we? Seasonal docks. 680. 680. I think that's what you're talking about. Tell me if it's not. So what if I just drop my canoe in so I'm not at the bank fishing or using a ramp? That should be free, correct? Where there's a will, there's a way. Oh, God. Looks like y'all screwed up and lost even more people this year. $5 to float around on my flotation device at the beach is a bit ridiculous. Maybe it comes with a reach around. I don't know. God, I love this. And listen to me. Before long, they're going to start charging to type a comment. Consider doing a toll road for those that want to water gaze. Credit card swipe on toilets. Automated bait shop with basic grocery, snacks, fishing bait. Also consider AI drones for security. This will be the next level Prairie Creek Reservoir. Indiana DNR motorized boat permit is $25. That allows annual access from January 1st to December 31st. How does that even work? Okay, whatever.
Hey, if it isn't frozen, you can go out there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. How to be an enemy of the people. Do the new fees come with drinks and dinner for two? No, but you get the screwing for, well, I was going to say for free, but I guess it's not. Can you guys take me to dinner first? We have no plans at this moment to phase out the wooden docks. That's like the police saying, we have no plans to facial recognition you with our AI drones. Better be stocking that lake with some big fish with them prices. Prairie Creek Reservoir Park. This place taxpayer funded? And the answer is like not really, kind of yes, but not really. It's used to be funded. It used to be self-sustaining. Ridenour has officially made this place no longer self-sustaining. Okay. So they won't be installing any more of the floating docks? No, they are just slowly getting rid of the wooden docks and actually thinking about running. I'm actually thinking about running for office. I was committeeman for 6 years and got tired of the bullshit, but now I'm pretty much retired. I have a lot of time and concern for my city. Hey, do it, dude. Do it. 10 years ago, I paid $1,000 for seasonal to put a camper out there and $800 for a pier. $800 for a pier at Prairie Creek. $37 for our family to swim in fish water with nothing to do at the beach but sit in the water. And last year it was free, and we got a ban for a few days for green slime, to the point of you better go see a doctor. Nothing is new, but the new prices, no shops. It looks run down. So much could have been done over the years to make it a fun place to visit. Now it's pay up. $5 to bank fish. Laugh my ass off. $5 to bank fish. What if I have a boater education form from another state that I lived in that covered inland and seagoing vessels? I don't know what that would have to do with anything. I am so confused. End of last year, it was stated the dock lottery was closed for 2026 and wouldn't be used. A lot of docks were being removed per the water company's agreement from the years ago. Same with the campers. That wasn't supposed to be there. The water company agreed to 50 campsites when it started. They never changed that, but the res did what they wanted, and they're still doing what they want. There should be plenty of bank fishing spaces, but there is not. People should be allowed to fish off a dock as long as boat isn't coming or leaving. It's common courtesy would be the bank fisher reel in and stop fishing until the boat is gone or tied up. There is really no place for handicapped people to fish or dock at to get on or off a boat. Just because they are handicapped doesn't mean they can't go fishing. All of these fees are absolutely insane. What are they for? They do nothing. It's nasty. Weeds grown up all along the banks, shoreline filled with rocks, and can't fish. Most places near the shore, because you will break off your line on the stupid amount of rocks in the water itself. Trashy. Last year alone, I saw plastic worm containers floating around, bundles of fishing line floating, and on land near the shoreline, a lid to a cat litter bucket floating in the water, plastic water bottles floating out in the middle of the water. Even saw a few pads floating through the water. If it wasn't for my disabled father-in-law always wanting to go there, I wouldn't ever step foot on the property. Much prefer the state park in Newcastle. The park department closed the lottery, and we are now under new management and have decided to reopen it. The campground will be closed for the 2026 season to reimagine and renovate. We have an ADA handicap dock. You can come in anytime and apply for it. Prices are not set by PCR. There is a town hall meeting on March 17th. All are welcome to come and express concerns and opinions to the park board. As I said, under new management, we have lots of plans for improvement and bettering the park overall. I will tell you this. I don't understand. I don't understand this deal with Prairie Creek Reservoir. Saying that this is a town board or town hall meeting. It's not a town hall meeting. It is a Muncie Parks Board meeting. They happen every third Tuesday of the month. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what people do. I hope they show up. I will say, none of what you see on the screen here currently is a result or as a result of anyone at Prairie Creek Reservoir. What you're seeing there is a result of Dan Ridenour and the Muncie Park Board. Now, the Muncie Park Board basically does what Ridenour wants. So it all comes down to Dan Ridenour. We're going to be looking at more here. I've issued a record request. I did that last night. I've got some record requests going out to the city and going out to Prairie Creek, looking for some information, and I'm reaching out to sources, and we're going to hear what's being said. So I will keep you guys posted, but I am highly, highly recommending that people go to the park board meeting on Tuesday, March 17th. It's a week from this coming Tuesday. It starts at 6 p.m. and everybody needs to go to voice their opinion. So I would highly recommend that. So that's that. We'll be following this and continuing to see what goes on and bringing you the truth about all of this. Yes, Producer Polk?
So the mayor had said that they had reduced the budget in anticipation of losing that revenue from the campsites.
Yes.
So do we know if he did that or not?
I don't believe he did, right? Hold on. Pull that. Stay right here. Pull that up and chat with him for 1 second. And
Sure.
American Farmer, stay here. I'll answer that here in 1 second.
So I did look it up. So in 2026, the budget is $814,000. And the budget from 2025 was $856,000. So it did come down a little bit. It came down about $41,000. But if you do the math and you look at 1450 times, 230 camping spaces, that's $330 in revenue that's just gone. So I don't know how $41,000 reduction in the budget makes up for a loss of $333,000 in revenue. I don't know. Does anybody else have an idea how that makes that up? Or are we making up all that? We're supposed to make up $300,000 worth of revenue with making people pay for their babies to swim. Does anybody else think that's plausible? Because I don't. And we're not taking into account any of the money coming in for the winter overnight or the winter storage of the campers, because I don't know how many people keep their campers in storage out there, so I don't want to try to guesstimate what that would have been. But I mean, this is a huge chunk of change that they're giving up in revenue, and they did not reduce the budget nearly any, comparatively speaking. Did the park board members vote on this fee schedule? I'm assuming so. I haven't watched the most recent board meeting, so I don't know.
Okay, so I heard most of what you were saying there, but I did not hear just the very, very first of when I first blacked out. So are you saying what? So there's $300,000
in lost revenue. It's more than 300,000.
Okay.
It's closer to 340.
Okay.
And from the campers, the fee for the campers, not including any winter storage.
And we don't know how we're trying to make that up at $2 at a time.
I guess.
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
He only reduced the budget $40,000. So I'm not sure how making me pay for my baby to swim is gonna. That's a lot of baby swimming there, buddy.
Yeah. All right. That would be a lot of babies. I Listen, I just think
with increased prices, I mean, from the comments on there's a lot of people who are like livid and are like, I'm going to go to a state park instead.
Well, first and foremost, so you think about this, a lot of people that would swim there would be the people that would like camp and whatnot. And so a lot of people that would boat there would be people that would have their RVs there. So if your RV is now going to be someplace else, you're probably not going to Prairie Creek to do this. I'm going to be interested to see how many people actually attend and what these figures at the end of the year, how much money we are going to have pulled in here.
Well,
I think it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens here. Because I don't think it's going to be much. I think they're going to be.
Oh, and Clint says they've also reduced the number of docks, so you're losing revenue there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I mean, there's so many ways that they're losing a lot of revenue that they're not. They charged you $600 to leave your camper on site through the winter.
And you're saying 10 years ago? So under Tyler?
Year, because 2024, it was only $250 according to the paperwork.
I'll have to pull the old shit and I'll have to pull the price list. I'll have to issue a record request and get that because that sounds absolutely nuts.
So they're losing a hell of a lot of revenue and they didn't give up a lot in their budget. So
yeah,
I mean, it's going from self-sufficient to taxpayer funded. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very strange. I don't know. I've issued some record requests. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to be at the park board meeting on Tuesday the 17th. We'll take a look at what's going on. I really hope that the public shows up and shows out. We know they can. We've seen them do it at the council meetings. This is another one of those things that things are only going to change. Things are only going to be fought back here if the citizens actually show up and fight back for it. That's all. That's what it's going to be. It's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on Ron Bonham, and that's been longer than 10 years. Hell, Ron Bonham was in charge. That was 25 years ago. Ron Bottom. It wasn't Bottom. It was Ron Bonham, like his brother John, the drummer. John Bonham. John Bonham. John Henry Bonham. Moby Dick. Dick. Yeah, Ron Bonham, the old Celtics basketball player. So I will let you guys know what goes on with that, and we'll keep you guys posted. Alrighty. Before we go, I promised you all two things. I promised you all that this Thursday we will do. I said Monday. I think I said Monday, didn't I? I think I said Monday. Okay, let me see. Hey, don't leave anywhere. Stay here. Don't go nowhere. David, you want to hear this? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Leave if you want. I don't care. I don't know why I said that. Do what you want to do. Tomorrow we will play. Okay. Tomorrow we will play the sounds. The sounds. Yes. I knew I said Monday. So tomorrow we will play the sounds and let you hear them, and we'll vote. So you need to be here. Be here. Or I don't know what else rhymes with here. I do know, but it'd probably get me in trouble. Be here, be square. I don't think that works. Anyways, be here and we'll let you hear it. We'll let you listen and you guys can vote. and we will. I guess we got to just bite it and do it, or whatever. It makes me think. It makes me think of that thing I sent to Kate and Brandon. This guy. Hold on, I'm going to play it before we do this. I'm trying to get the hold on, I'll tell you what I'm trying to do here in a minute. I think I'm having a stroke. Help. Okay, it reminds me of this. What I was just doing right there, it reminds me of this guy. I love this guy. This where's he at? I just sent this to Kate and to Brandon.
You also need to answer American Farmer's question.
That's the last thing I'm going to do. That is the last. It's the last thing I'm going to do. I like this. All right, I'm going to do it. If I can't get it. Okay, let me see it right here. We go. Yep. Nope, I can't find it. Well, I can't even tell you what I was going to tell you there. Okay, so we will do that Monday. Monday we will do it, and I will let you guys know. I'll let you know what it is. We'll play them. Here's what the deal is going to be. We're going to play it during the show, the beginning of the show. We'll play the sounds. You guys can vote, but you won't know them. We won't know the answers then. Then I will make a poll, and I will put that poll out on social media, and we will let people vote there. So I'll have to cut it down into a short video, and we'll do it there, and we'll put the poll out. And then at the end of that 24-hour period, we will announce it then on Tuesday. And then we'll start with we'll start with the next phase, so we can get that done and over with. So if you're interested in sending in any more recordings, if anybody else is out there, all you got to do is record that saying and send it to me. I got a couple I got to send you, Kate. You just record yourself saying he's just a wannabe. Remember, some of you are like laughing when you send it in, which is fine. You send it in however you want to. But the back end of this thing is we're going to try to say it like in a mean way, like you actually are seriously mad or you don't like me. Say it however you want to do it. How many county buildings that you've been in require you to remove your belt? Not a single, well, just one, just Madison County. Just Madison County. Hold on there, Alva. This is important. Maybe you might want to hear this or listen to this tomorrow morning, the very end, because I just want people to know this so everyone can be aware. We'll do that. We'll get it out Tuesday. We'll listen to it. And then whoever wins, I'll talk to you all one-on-one. Okay, so the very, very last thing. American Farmer says, I hear you made Catherine get her own YouTube. You made her get her own YouTube page. I saw on Facebook y'all were mad at each other. Where did you see that at? Where did you see that at? Who said they were mad at each other? Did Catherine say she was mad at me? I wasn't. I don't know. No, a couple of people have asked me this because obviously if you've watched the show for a couple of days in a row, you've noticed that, well, number one, Catherine Callahan has not been on the program in a moment. And number two, she's not been in the comments. David Williams, my nephew heard Catherine Callahan was my girlfriend. So is a bunch of other people. the stories that you're hearing are not true. No, here's the deal. Because a couple of other people have messaged me in the last day or two. And to be perfectly honest, no. First of all, I don't control Catherine. I have no way of telling her to get her own YouTube channel. I want to be very, very, very clear here. So Catherine has never been... people always get weird when I say this. I'm not saying this as a negative. Catherine has never been like a host here. Catherine has never been like a part of the makeup of this YouTube channel. That is myself, Kate Thornburg, and Brandon Rudd. Catherine has been a very dear friend of the show and is somebody I don't consider as a guest. We've elevated her to the position of a contributing correspondent, which she has been for quite some time, and value a lot of the things that she says and does. And like a lot of other things and people, we agree and we disagree on various things vehemently all the time. There's things that we strongly agree on, and there's things that we strongly disagree on. As far as Catherine being a part of this YouTube channel, she was definitely a friend of the show and part of the show, and in my opinion, still is. We have not said one thing different to her. She, in my opinion, is still a contributing correspondent. Matter of fact, if we go to our banner down here, you can still see here the banner's still here. Dr. Catherine Callahan, contributing correspondent. We still have that up. I didn't just type it. It is what it is. That being said, because I feel like being transparent and honest here, Catherine and I did have a disagreement. Today's Sunday, so 2 weeks ago, Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe a Thursday. I don't remember when it was. We did have a disagreement, and I didn't think anything particularly of it. We've disagreed about a lot of stuff in the past before. I mean, Catherine is a strong figure, and I am a strong figure. It is what it is. I'm seeing the comments here. Okay. So yeah, like Kate just said, I mean, we definitely had a disagreement. I'm not going to lie about that. We had a disagreement, and I'm going to be perfectly honest here. The disagreement was over the level of involvement in me and her campaign. I back Catherine. I want Catherine to win. I think Catherine can win. I think that race is a winnable race, and I support Catherine in her run. I have never, not one time, ever said that Catherine was not welcome here. I have never, ever told Catherine that she was not going to be permitted back on the show. As I said, we still have the banner up for her. We're both hard-headed. That's absolutely true. I mean, we're definitely two strong people. That's just, that's what it is. And we've disagreed about things in the past, and I'm sure we will agree and we will disagree more in the future. That just happens. That there's nobody. I always say nobody agrees with anybody 100% of the time, and if you do, you're a liar. So that's that. I saw that Catherine had a show that her and Nicole put forward, and I think that's fantastic. I don't resent that one bit. Podcasts and political programs and YouTube videos. This is not like McDonald's versus Burger King. If you go eat Burger King, chances are you're not immediately going to pull out and go eat McDonald's. So there's only room for like one. With political podcasts, there's not, you can't have too many. So I welcome her and Nicole's show. I think that Nicole and Catherine wanted more of a I mean, I can't have Catherine on here. I can't have Catherine on here nightly. And and that's not what the disagreement was over. I want to be very clear. Catherine is perfectly fine. Anytime she's been on here, she's like, hey, I could come on or I could not come on, whenever. So Catherine and I had a political disagreement over her campaign, but not in my opinion, not terminal. If Catherine is mad, if there's a problem, it's news to me. I'll put it to you like that. So I don't think that her show or the show, I saw somebody had commented on their show saying, well, what happened to the Spotlight? What do you mean what happened to Spotlight? We're here 5 nights a week. We're allowed to take 2 nights off. And Nicole responded even on there. And Nicole said, nothing happened to it. We're just doing a show so we can talk more about the district and more about Madison County. I think that's fantastic. I think that is absolutely wonderful. Her new show really focuses on her district in Madison County, and I think that's fantastic. So, no, there is no issue. Catherine's welcome back on the show, whenever she has time, anytime she wants to be here. But she's probably not going to be here 5 nights a week, but she's never been here 5 nights a week. So it is what it is. So I don't hold a grudge. We have a disagreement, and that's all I can say, but it is what it is. So, no hard feelings here. And, you missed a few days for weeks. Brandon Garrett. Yeah, right. So, all right. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful Monday day back to the work week. And we'll see what goes on. Overseas markets are exploding right now. Oh, yeah, it's getting ready to get interesting as far as that goes. We might even have to talk about some national stuff here in the very, very near future. Yeah, I'm not trying to hide their channel. I don't know their channel. I'll tell you if you guys want to know. If you give me just 1 second here, I can tell you where it's at. Give me a second here. If anybody is interested in watching what Catherine and Nicole are doing, it is okay right here. Okay, it is heads. So HEADZ up, heads up, and with the ampersand, co-production, all out of bubblegum. I don't know if that's going to change at some point. Here's what it is. I'll put it up on the screen here so you can see it. That'd probably be the easiest. This is the thing, at least for right now. I don't know if this is going to change. So this is subject to change. It is Heads Up and Co-production, all out of bubblegum IN. So that's what it is. They're kind of all over the place here. Let me see. So yeah, right here under the lives, they've got episode 1. Then it doesn't say episode 2, but then it says episode 3. And so if you click in here, damn it. If you click in here, it says 2 chicks with a podcast, with a political podcast, Madison County Watchdog Chronicles. I don't know what the actual name is. So it's something. Tune in weekly at 7 p.m. on Thursdays. So that's the other thing. Like, it's not like they're trying to counter program us or anything like that. They're picking a different time, and they're only doing it on Thursdays. Now, they say they're only doing it on Thursdays, and then they did a show Thursday, a show Saturday and a show Sunday. So I don't know what their scheduling is. You're just going to have to follow. Go subscribe, do everything. It's not like you can only have so many people. There's enough pie here for everybody. Episode 1, Madison County Meltdown, podcast soft launch. Tonight, we're breaking down 2 major stories unfolding right now in Madison County, Indiana. First, the city of Alexandria is reportedly in the red. Recent reports and audit findings raise serious questions about financial management, missing utility funds, negative balances, and contracts that may have passed bidding laws. How did this happen, and what does it mean for taxpayers? Second, today's Madison County Parks Board meeting left many residents with more questions than answers. When citizens started asking questions about millions of dollars in APRA funding, not APRA, this is the ARPA, the funding, the federal funding program after COVID, and park projects, the public live streams feed was cut, leaving the community in the dark. And something that really happened here that was awesome, it was David, you're an idiot. Can I stream it here? Yeah, we'll start jumping their feed and see how well that goes. That'd go over well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. You can find it. I hope you check it out and take it all in. It's all good. Everything's good here. You know, there's ups and downs and ins and outs, and that's what it be. So, all right, that's it. You guys have a great one. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you back here tomorrow when I'm sure we'll talk about some political stuff and what goes on. All right. Oops, I got rid of Alva. That's my fault. All right. Good night and goodbye.